Hey everybody, does anybody have a phone book that I can read to liven up this party a little bit? Sorry, John, it's a thankless task, really. I'm Brett Jones, class of 2004, and I want to say thank you, Butch, for recalling those matches in that season. It was a special season. That was a special match, especially against Penn State. Thank you, Bill, for recalling yours as well, and it's great to see so many guys here from that era. So, but I'm here to talk about Captain Circle, and Captain Circle is a way for us to recognize people who have been integral to what this club is. Without their stamp on the program, it wouldn't be what it is today. And so it's a way to show guys that have gone the extra mile and really committed to the program, either during their playing days or since, or hopefully both. Fellas who are graduating, your work's not done yet. We need all hands on deck. So welcome to the old boys' dark side. Let's see. First, I'd like to recognize current Captain Circle's members who are present. So I'll go through your names. If you will, please stand and remain standing. In 2018, Bob Hampstead, Richard Sexton, Butch Robertson, Marty Bradley, Danny Paris, Jim Piles. 2019, Rob Farley, Kevin Hartley, Tyler Husky, Scott Jones, Mike McIntyre, John Shaw. 2022, Rob Halcomb, Rick Mellon, Mark Winger. 2023, Michael Weldon. Please join me in thanking these members of UT Rugby for all they've meant. These men have given selflessly to make UT Rugby what it is today, and we thank you. I just want to say briefly, you know, it's not a popular thing in the modern world to make things about more than yourself. You look at your phone, it's all about you. It's what you want. It's important now to think about something bigger than yourself. And you see it as you get older, guys, younger guys especially, pay attention. It's all about you now, but just know that as you pour yourself into something bigger than yourself, you'll find out who you are, and you're going to make that institution or whatever you care about better, and it's going to make you a better person as well. So always kind of steer in that direction. Be about something more than just yourself. So we have 3 members who are going in this year. Unfortunately, 2 could not make it. The first is Benji Goff. He graduated in 2011. One of the best pure athletes I've ever seen play for UT Rugby. Came out of Brentwood High School with a lot of expectations and lived up to all of them, I would say. We're sorry he can't be here. He's suffering through a med training cruise. So please keep him in your thoughts and prayers. He hopefully will join us next year. The second is Bob Ball. He graduated in 1987. He was a hard player, just a stand-up guy. He was a military man, played rugby for 34 years. He could not be here because he injured himself on a ladder, and I can't imagine that a body could work after 34 years of rugby, so we'll cut him some slack. Hopefully he'll be here next year. The last, I will hand over to Bob Hampstead to introduce. Thank you.
How many in here had cataract surgery? I mean, whatever they call it, you know, I mean, I went to the doctor and they said, we can fix those eyes. And so I got certified to do 40 miles an hour. And my wife was worried about me, you know. And I said, well, I'm not going to use my blinkers. I'll just turn my flashers on. And she goes, well, people get mad. I said, I'll just put it in the back window asking how many red lights at Walmart. And then I knew the people were wrong because they just gave me one. And I knew it was 2. Okay, that's the best I can do. I actually don't really need them unless it's small print. Okay, I've known Yamaha for over 50 years. When I first walked on the Fulton Bottoms in my first practice in the fall of 1973, the team was in the middle of a scrimmage. I asked the coach if I could get in. The coach was Mel Whiteside, a Special Forces veteran of Vietnam. Mel later told me that a good practice was when the backs complained that the forwards were too nasty. Yamaha was one of the vocal ones, and I knew that he was not from around here. My next memory of Yamaha was later that fall when he was working at a Bette Midler concert in Stokely. He was in charge of seating in his area. There were three of us, and I could see his mind working and working. How do I leave even seats on each side of him? Finally, he just turned around and says, "Follow me." He's always been direct and fast talking. You know, he didn't even wait to see if we're going to follow him. Well, we in the South, we talk around things. You know, we don't be direct. So imagine Yamaha riding in a truck with three good old Tennessee boys. They're riding in the hills, past small churches, wood cabins, a few trailers. And then they come out in a beautiful valley. And the driver says, "Is that Buford painting his barn?" And the next guy goes, "Yeah, and that's JB and his boys fetching for him." And then the third guy goes, "I hear down at the hardware store that he got enough paint to paint C. Rocksteady on the side of it." Then Yamaha gets in and goes, "That's where the money came from." You'd have to know Yamaha to appreciate that. Bill and his father split the expenses for Bill to attend UT. And Bill was very analytical. He knew what things cost. This mind was at work in rugby as Bill always looked at the whole picture. If you watch rugby with Bill, you better be on your A game. Bill was the only guy I know that could give you an inning blow for a baseball game in the 70s. Getting back why we're here. What about Bill's rugby career? Bill was a great recruiter and talked a lot of guys into playing for UT, very enthusiastic about the game. Bill finished his playing days with the Nashville club. Bill was not finished as he helped coach UT and the coach for Knoxville for several seasons. It was Nashville where Bill started refereeing and continued for decades. This past Nash Bash, Bill passed on his gear to some of the younger refs. Bill's always been generous with family members and friends, both by opening up his house and providing funds when needed. I also think of Bill through the eyes of Becky, who chose him for marriage. I used to tell Bill that the only reason I hung out with him because I liked Becky better. Bill took it well. He had a great sense of humor. During our travels together and during some hard times in our life, I found Bill to be polite, gracious, and he's a friend for life. Let's welcome Mr. Peterson.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Let's stand on the X.
It's Jeopardy. I gotta stand on the X.
The plaque, man, the plaque.
Yeah.
Woo, look at that.
I know.
That's sweet.
And good night, all.
I don't know about cataract surgery or anything like that. They gave me these glasses, so that's what I use. But I don't think I'll need it tonight because I put big font on here. Before I start tonight, I just wanted to say how wonderful it is to see some of the members from the 2003, 2004, so many memories of those guys. Oh my goodness. We were talking about some of the other guys that aren't here tonight, and it's just been wonderful. And then some of the wonderful guys, Winger, and you know, so many people have come up to me and, geez, it's just meant so much, and it's just been so wonderful. And to think that I'm going in with guys like that, wow. So when I got the message from Brett that I was going in with Benji and I was going in with Bob Ball, I thought about it, and it occurred to me that I was a little bit like Ray Shaw, 1955 Baseball Hall of Fame inductee, who went into the Hall with a .253 batting average, 11 homers, and 594 RBI. Not exactly eye-popping numbers for the Hall, but those two guys, well, they were something special. But somehow I got here. So here we go. September 28th of this year will mark my 52nd year with this club, some association. 52 years since I walked down those concrete steps from Kingston Pike down to Fulton Bottoms. I walked in, I didn't know a soul. They were mostly graduate students, juniors, seniors. They were talking a foreign language. They were talking about gain lines, dead ball lines, lines of touch, offside lines. I mean, I had no idea what they were talking about, but I knew I could do the physical work, and I stayed with it. And I had a lot of those guys that helped me, brought me along. Some that showed me some, how shall we say, some less than desirable traits on the rugby team, on the rugby field, but I came along, and I came in at a time when the tries were 4 points apiece. Lineouts had no lifting. Lineouts had no spacing. Lineouts were frequently thrown into by the wings with varying degrees of success. We used leather Gilbert balls, no pebble grain on there like the modern rugby ball that you use today, and they were absolutely like greased piglets in a rainstorm. I mean, it would. I've seen some of the highlights from Sid Going in New Zealand with the rain and the wind. How in the world he ever controlled that ball is beyond me. It's just unbelievable. We wore full sleeve cotton jerseys. When it rained or hot day when the perspiration got in there, it felt like a weighted vest on you by the 50th or 60th minute. But with all that said, I don't pine for the past. I think the game has evolved, and I love that. I love that the game is not so rooted that it cannot change. We look at the 52-20 rule that's there now. We look at the goal line dropout rule, and hopefully there'll be some innovation about the kick tennis that we have between the nines these days. But the game is going to move on and evolve, and I love that. Because I believe the game today is better than it was in the past. The players, bigger, stronger, faster, fitter, better endurance. The coaching, better preparation, better instruction, better correction in practice, better micro and macro management on game day. We have better medical care today than we have ever had. When I played, we had a fishing tackle box that had Band-Aids and gauze pads and isopropyl alcohol, but I guarantee you it had no athletic tape in there because somebody had taken it to wrap their ankles. And as a side, I will say this. If I had 25 cents for every time I provided athletic tape or brought athletic tape to some fool that didn't remember to bring it himself, I would be dining with Warren Buffett in Omaha, Nebraska right now at his favorite steakhouse because I'd be that wealthy. There is better administration now. I was talking to Marty before the event began. We used to come with 3-ring binders that were, they were chock full, and we would have a history of every player that we had, and we would have to show it to them. They have to look at it, one thing or the other. Now it's just digitally sent on, and then that's great. The opportunities with this club are so much better. We now have an SID, Sports Information Director. We have a merchandising manager. We have a DOR, a Director of Rugby Operations. We have a head coach. We have a statistician. Yeah. That's amazing. This right here is what progress looks like.
Yeah.
I am proud to say that the players of my day helped create the first rugby banquet ever. I am proud to say that the players of my day helped create and establish the UT Old Boys. And I am proud to say that the players of my day helped create and establish the Richard Sexton Scholarship Fund. You saw me up here earlier. 43 years we have been in existence, and we are going to keep on moving this club forward. My son, who's with me tonight, member of that 2003-2004 group, has a wonderful expression for people who have attained the age that I have, or have even attained a further milestone. He calls us old Dusties, as in, if that old Dusty would get out of the left-hand lane, we could move on. If that old Dusty had made a turn signal 100 yards back, we could have gone around him. Or look at that old Dusty. He's got his hands on the 10 and 2 at 10 and 2 with a death grip on the wheel. Old Dusties. Well, us old Dusties, many of us are contributing, and I don't know, Leonard, I'm sorry, I'm going to say it, Leonard Butch Robertson Endowment Fund, the LBR, which we believe will provide the leadership for the coming years. I see a great future for this club. There are young men in this room right now that in 2045, maybe sitting in an event like this, and you know what you'll be doing? Celebrating the 75th anniversary of this club. Now that will really be something. The 75th anniversary. I've lived through the 25th and the 50th. Won't make the 75th with you guys, but I'll be there in spirit. I want to thank everyone and anyone who has had something to do with me getting up here or having this wonderful award. I get to go in with some guys that, wow, I could only dream of. Thank you so much for this wonderful honor.
What a great way to conclude the evening and to start off the Old Boys weekend. Remember, tomorrow at the Tennessee Rugby Park, the first match starts at noon? 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock. There will be food and festivities thereafter, so look forward to everything. Silent auction winners meet out back. Marty and Kelly will be taking money. If you're inclined to go out in this area tonight, the selected place, Logan tells me, is Lilu's on Gay Street. And I hope to see everybody tomorrow. There will be a brunch at my house on Sunday at 10 o'clock. Old boys show up at 10. College guys, you're welcome to come at 12 thereafter. Thank you.